And we are in the studio tonight with Jennifer Easy on the Eyes Gimenez. And Andrew,
you came up with that, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
And he
That's
hasn't
mine.
even looked at me once. He didn't even ask me. He didn't say hello to me downstairs, nor did he ask me how I'm doing.
By the way, Patrick doesn't like
on
when
the air.
Patrick.
No, he called me.
By the way, Patrick wants us to be nicer to each other for National Recovery Month. He doesn't like when
that's
people.
the goal. He doesn't like when we pick on each other?
He doesn't like when you guys pick on me.
No one
I'm not
picks on
doing
you
any of the picking
right now
because people that are listening, Patrick believes that if they turned it on and they heard this, they wouldn't feel compelled to call.
Because they think we pick on them?
Or they think we're not.
They have no idea.
They think we're not compassionate.
Lovely picking.
And the number is 888. I just heard that in my head.
I feel like
it's like almost, you know what's really cool about radio?
Talking.
You hear the heavens from behind you through your head. And give us a call at 888-539-2980. That's 888-539-2980. Jen's new show is coming out September 16th, or as some of us call it, the first night of Rosh Hashanah.
So can you give us any scoop on the new season? I mean, obviously it's not celebrities, right?
It's not celebrities. It's non-celebrities this year. And I have to say, it's the most intense season I have ever shot of Sober House or Celebrity Rehab put together. I think it's like a combination of all the seasons of Celebrity Rehab and Sober Houses put together. It was compelling.
How many clients?
8.
8. Wow.
Yeah, 8. And they're from all over the country.
Right.
And
sort of like regular Rehab.
Did they play it like they were on The Real World? Like, you know, now they came in and now they're going to be famous on MTV kind of thing?
No, I hope. I've talked to a few of them. I still talk to all of them, and a few of them I'm very close with all of them, you know, in different ways, and I've established relationships like to help them continue, because we did aftercare for a hot minute afterwards. I did with them, and then now they're still with Bob and Dr. Drew. And, you know, I said, you know, don't let this get to you. Don't forget that, like, because I had to experience it too in my own way, is that it's, you know what, my recovery is so different than doing that show. I mean, even though I'm bringing in recovery and stuff, but what happens when that show airs is, you know, people come up to you, and I'm sure for them, they come up to them in a different way, and they encourage them, and they're really, people want to see them succeed, because, you know, you're laughing and crying and going through what they're going through with them while watching it, but that goes away. You know, and that could easily, feed you. I call it famism. You know, it feeds your ego. And if your ego is like, you know, you're like, oh, I'm going to be famous now. Like, that's not what this is about, you know. And I try to tell that to them, you know.
Do you think the presence of cameras has an effect on the client's ability to actually really engage in a real conversation with therapists? I mean, that's got to be difficult.
It is a little difficult, but if they're not used to it and they're like just kind of coming through, it's a few, you know, steps of transition at first. And I think that they see like someone
and they're
like
asking for water and cigarettes on the side, and
they got cigarettes and they got water, but they didn't get the privileges that the other ones did, which was great. And they
the
didn't
celebrity
know.
ones got more privileges, like
They were a lot.
Really?
But it's actually a very good point you raised, that, you know, they're calling it rehab, but after this, it's going to be celebrity, because
it will be,
you know, they're going to have hopefully.
Well, they'll be like Real World,
But that's not
like,
their
reality TV stars.
That's not their intention. I mean, these guys are like hope to die. Addicts, and most of them are young, and you know,
Keith Richards.
No, there's no one older than, I think, you know, I mean, it's someone in like 44 or something like that, but the others are like 19, 23, but they've had a really intense life. Like I'm like, damn.
And how did they find rehab?
Well, you would submit a video or a letter.
So that you can't tell me they didn't cast it a little bit like they cast Real World, to like set up dynamics of different backgrounds that would, you know, get in fights with each other. And
well, they mostly fought me, so
well, fought you, even worse.
They fought me, and I'm like, this season, I mean, it was a growing experience, and you know, I'm grateful. Like, you know, last year I was like, I'm done with it, and then this season I was like, this year when they asked me, I was like, you know, I've learned so much by working at KLEAN, and I honestly credit everything to working at KLEAN this season to how I was before.
You better.
So, like the kung fu and like the running down certain things that were happening, like I had to, I learned so much this last year.
By the way, if you just tuned in, you're listening to KLEAN Radio. We're in the studio tonight with Jennifer Gimenez, who's going to be starring in the new show Rehab, coming out September 16th, along with a lot of other shows
on VH1.
On VH1,
not all VH1, but this one's
A&E,
VH1,
because she's also on Housewives.
That's
right.
Bravo.
A&E, Bravo, AB.
Of course.
Yeah. But so what's the Andrew's actually what is the difference between working on Celebrity Rehab and just Rehab?
They come in with no. I feel like the people from Celebrity Rehab, like they came in with ego in the sense that they had something, they know what it's like to be in front of a camera of some sort. This season they were like, I'm dying, I don't know what to do, and they've been living on the streets. Some of them been living on the streets, like when they came in, and their parents were like pleading, these letters, writing these whole, sad letters, and then they interviewed them. I mean, you'll see as it starts. I'm not sure how much. I guess I can talk about it. You'll see as it starts that these people do not know what it's like to be in front of the camera. None of them have been. And, they come in and they're just so desperate. They're so desperate and they're so raw and they just want to get better. They don't know how to get better. And in the same, the process of what treatment is like, again, like I was saying right before you interrupted me, was that I was like, I know I have a lot. It's different. I've grown so much in the last year. I feel like I've grown so much in the last 4 years of shooting these shows that this season I have so much more training behind me that I thought, I can bring a different aspect to the table, and I've matured and I've grown, and I did that, and it's helped me so much. Like the therapists, all the hot little therapists that work at KLEAN, like they really helped me a lot, and the guys.
She's not talking about us, by the way.
Yeah, no, but I love like Josie and Allison and Hope. Like I talk to them for hours, and Shauna and all these people. Like I spend hours and hours with them, and they teach me so much in the courses of things that I'm learning, and it was great, and with these patients, you could see, you'll hear and see what happened, and happens on the show that you're like, oh my God, like these are things I have never heard before, and they were just so raw about it. But it takes a while. It's just like any addict or alcoholic, you don't just automatically trust, and I was able to build that trust with them, and I'm grateful with it for them because I still talk to them.
Jennifer's learning how to join with clients.
And
I know.
Is there a follow-up with them?
Yes, we did aftercare, and they're still in it. Some of them are taking in more intense treatment right now, and they're completely taken care of right now, which is amazing. They went into sober livings, and and it's not like they went, okay, bye. I cannot believe how much VH1 and the production, the producers have allowed this process to continue afterwards, especially because these people are so new to the world.
Well, they also have a problem with so many deaths from past alumni from the show, right? I mean, we're hoping for some better outcomes, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean they're very committed to helping
Andrews
them.
Definitely doesn't work for VH1 now.
I guess I lost my gig with VH1.
Yeah, you're no longer invited to the panel.
And it's not delete, reverse. No, honestly, people die all the time.
of course,
and it's just because I know that I've lost. This year Rodney King dying was a hard one. Because I was close with him, and
there was no decisive autopsy.
Yeah, there was.
PCP,
he pretty much had every drug known to man inside him.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah,
wow.
he had quite the cocktail of killer
and
drugs.
then Joey from The Real World died a couple weeks ago.
Was it suicide with him? Or,
no, I mean, who knows? I mean,
well, I guess
but
always
that's
sort of suicidal,
that's actually a great point. And we're talking. By the way, if you just tuned in, you're listening to KLEAN Radio. The number here is 888-539-2980. That's 888-539-2980. That's actually a very good point because people constantly say, well, I never try to commit suicide. We meet a lot of people that are in recovery. And I'm like, but you used to shoot heroin.
Yeah, my favorite is the ones that won't take antibiotics, but they've been doing crack for 6 months.
I know, or like I'm a holistic person. Yeah. I got to tell you, I used to at one point go, you know what, I'm just going to keep using today. Hopefully I don't wake up. Hopefully I die while I'm using. And I was like, I just can't put a gun to my head. Honestly, I think swear that's what I thought.
If you're injecting cocaine or heroin, or if you're smoking crack, there's a part of you that's suicidal because you're taking such an extreme risk.
Well, I was
Well, I think
snorting
you're-
as much as I could,
Right.
and I was like, I just hope this is the last one. I hope this
Right.
is the last heartbeat. I'm
I mean,
grateful
there's
now
so
that
much
it wasn't.
to it. You know, when you're a drug addict, there's not just the using, there's the going to get it. Most of the time it's in a horrific neighborhood where you might get killed going to get the drugs.
You didn't get it. You didn't have a delivery guy.
I was an alcoholic, my friend.
It's called the corner store.
Yeah, it's called the bodega.
The bodega.
What's it like working from from going to rehab to the housewives? Because in one sense, you're going from people that are trying to get sober to another show about all these women that are just.
It was a crazy month, that month of shooting Rehab, because I was doing groups at KLEAN, and then I was prepping for Rehab, and then I started shooting Rehab. I did like 2 groups for KLEAN while shooting, and then I went into Rehab into Housewives during the day, and I would only sleep, honestly, and I kid you not, for the month of May, I slept one night 4 hours.
Yeah,
most.
sounds
and,
about right.
and I was like in 5-inch stilettos, like running down things in Rehab. And I mean, it was a crazy month. And I was shooting, I shot a couple days, like 2 or 3 days of Housewives. And then I continued shooting right after we wrapped. And it's just like, oh my God, because you're going from one, like about these people wanting, you're not sure if they want to live or die, to another one that's, all about, it's a lot more glamorous in some sense, or most sense. And I just had to stay true with myself. I mean, thank God for like talking to you and going back to doing my groups at KLEAN and going and speaking with like my therapist or sponsor or my friends and family and going, okay, am I okay right now? Am I okay? It was a lot. It was very different.
But what I'm asking is it different? Right. Is it different? One show, people are trying to get help, and it almost like the other show, they're just out of their minds. Which the housewives. Getting drunk,
I'm not
living,
super sane either on in general. I'm not super sane in general, but I'm not super sane in that show too. I mean, it definitely. Sometimes my buttons get pushed on these kinds of shows, and so I just had to stay true to myself. And a lot of people are like, "How could you do that?" How dare you? Shame on you for being around like people like the Housewives or people who drink. And it's like, I got sober to live a full life. I got sober so I can do other shows, other movies.
I don't think I know anybody who has a real successful recovery that doesn't hang out with people that drink.
Yeah, like
Doing drugs is a different issue.
I'm not gonna be around someone shooting
But I
or
love
like
that
doing
it's so
drugs.
funny that
Like
the show is called Housewives.
Yeah, right. Although everybody's on prescription pills these days, so half people are walking around zoned out anyway.
It's amazing because I've talked about that a lot with worked it out with my sponsor, and it's like I get to stand in my truth and I get to be clear.
Right.
Even though I may do crazy things, I get to stand firm.
Right.
With who I am at that moment. There's a lot of different me's.
Well, that's what by the
We've
way.
got 30 seconds. Give
Yeah.
our numbers. We're going to be back on break after about 2 minutes here, but give out the numbers so people can call in between the break.
The number is
a few
888-539-2980. You're listening to KLEAN Radio. The number is 888-539-2980. We're in the studio tonight with the lovely and talented Andrew Spanswick, and also Jennifer Gimenez. It is National Recovery Month. We're going to be talking about that when we get back from the break. The discussion continues at KLEANradio.com.
Are you struggling with an addiction that's ruining your life? Want to have a confidential conversation with a professional that will immediately assist you? Do you suspect a loved one is abusing drugs and would like a free drug testing kit and consultation? KLEAN Treatment Center is standing by right now to help those with addictions and the people who care about them. Call 888-601-6040. That's 888-601-6040. Or go to KLEAN Treatment Center, that's clean with a K, KLEANTreatmentCenter.com.